The French house duo Daft Punk recently split up after 28 years of meshing music with technology. We want to pay homage to them by looking at 3 songs from their trailblazing album, Discovery, which turns 20 years old this year. The 2 helmeted robots experimented with multiple ways of producing, including analog synths and drum machines, live instruments, and even a symphony for the Tron Legacy soundtrack. But today, we will focus on how they used samples. Daft Punk particularly loved sampling obscure disco and soul records from the late 70s to early 80s, and the way they chopped and processed the samples has a very distinct sound. Let's look at how to do it online in the browser with Soundation. Harder, Better, Faster, Stronger samples the song Cola Bottle Baby by Edwin Birdsong. The first thing we need to do is to get the sample to the right tempo. The easiest way to do this in Soundation is to cut out a loopable section of the song, let's say 4 bars, and then stretch it to the grid. So let's listen and count 4 bars. 1, 2, 3, 4. And right before the 5th bar starts is where we cut it. You can zoom in to see exactly where the transient starts. And then delete the rest. With the desired tempo set, which is around 123 BPM for this song, you can now take the pitch stretch tool and drag the edge to the beginning of the 5th bar on the grid. It's now a bit faster and higher pitched. You can extend the clip with the pointer tool to get the whole track back. This song won't be in sync the entire way because it was most likely recorded without a click track, but it will be close enough for doing some sample chopping. I've already prepared a track with all the sampled parts cut out. The first part of the intro is actually from the end of the song. And then when you loop it, you get this stuttering effect. The next part is from this section. And it's looped twice as fast. The last part of the intro is made from these 3 pieces. The main part is this 4-bar loop. Then, when the vocals come in, the sample simply cuts out like this to leave room for it.
Work it, make it, do it, makes us harder, better, faster, stronger.
Let's take a look at the effects now. We've added compression to make it more punchy and energetic. Then we have an EQ to boost the sub-bass, scoop the muddy low end out, and increase the treble to get more clarity. Daft Punk probably used something like an EMU SP1200 to chop the sample. This sampler was 12-bit, which was a technical limitation of the time, but it made the sound more gritty and crunchy. To emulate this kind of sound, we can add some bit crushing with the degrader effect. This is what it sounds like if we go more extreme, but we'll keep it subtle. Lastly, we have a couple of filters. A filter shapes the tone of the sound by removing certain frequencies. A low-pass filter lets the frequencies under the cutoff point pass through, while cutting the higher ones. A high-pass filter will do the opposite, letting through the high and cutting the low frequencies. You can automate the cutoff to have it change throughout the track. Right-click on the knob and choose Add Automation to Cutoff. For this track, both filters are set to around 1.5 kHz during the intro that later opens up. So let's add a point here and another one that goes all the way up to 20 kHz. And then the same for the other filter, except the second point goes all the way down to 20 Hz. Let's take a listen. One More Time samples the song More Spell on You by Eddie Johns. To get the sample into the right tempo, simply pitch stretch it the same way as the last one. The only difference is that this was slowed and pitched down instead of up. They used 4 parts from the sections that sound like this. This instrumental section comes up a few times in the original song, and I think they sampled it from multiple places. This way, they got some variance in the sound, even though the pattern is repeating. For instance, I believe that the intro comes from here, and that this part comes from here. And they are chopped up in this stuttered way. The effects are pretty similar to the last song. The compressor adds more energy. The EQ cleans up the tone. The degrader adds that crunchy grit. And then we have a high-pass filter that's automated for the intro and other selected parts. The last effect is the fakie, which emulates sidechain compression. Usually, that's when a compressor gets triggered by the kick and adds a pumping effect. The depth is automated so that it only pumps when the drums are playing. Speaking of drums, layering in some of your own can make the track feel more modern and energetic. Daft Punk often used a Roland TR-909 drum machine. You can get the same sound in Soundation with the drum machine instrument with Kit 9. It's playing this 4 on the floor pattern. And to top it off, we have a hi-hat loop and a tambourine loop. Both are from the sound library, and they also have the degrader and fakie effects to get the same grit and pumping as the sample. And this is what everything sounds like together. Aerodynamic samples the song Il Maquillage Lady by Sister Sledge. The stretching process is similar to the other songs, but with an extra step. To get the pitch right, we need to pitch stretch it down to 120 BPM and export it. Then we can import it again, set the tempo to 123 BPM, and use the time stretch tool to stretch it again. This way the pitch will be lower, but at a faster tempo. This is the section with the samples cut out. These orange clips are bass notes that are chopped up into this bass line. And the purple clips are mainly guitar sounds that layer on top and fill in the blank spaces. And together, they sound like this. The bass has an EQ to tighten up the low end. And the guitar part has an EQ to remove the low bass, since we don't need it, and to tame this overpowering tone from the cowbell. All channels are sent to a bus with 0 output. This means all sound goes through this effect channel so they get all the same effect processing. And again, we have a degrader, compressor, and EQ. We added a phaser to get a swirling feel. And the tremolo will subtly spin the sound around in stereo. We're losing some gain with the tremolo, so to make up for it and to add some extra drive, we added some distortion. And then we have a couple of instruments. We use the drum machine instrument in this song too, but now with Kit 8, which has the same sound as the Roland TR-808. Another drum machine Daft Punk frequently used. We also layered the bass with a synth to get some more fatness. It's a simple VA synth patch. The important thing here is to tune the instrument to the key of the sample. Since we pitched the sample earlier, the key might be in between notes. If you then play a synth in standard tuning, it will sound dissonant. So just make sure to tune the synth while listening to the sample to make sure that it's the right pitch. And this is the final result. Thank you, Daft Punk, for the awesome music over the years, and thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe and let us know what you want to learn next.